Hi and welcome to the last Feng Shui session this year already. Oh my God. And depending whether you're watching me on Facebook or on Zoom, you're all welcome. And I'm looking forward to the session tonight. So yes, here we go. Yeah. Um, sorry, I'm still in Tauranga for the moment, for now and for this year, until the end of the year. So yes, for this summer, as it not is today, but we had beautiful days. So it's the end of the year, which means the beginning of the new year is just right in front of us. So close, so close. So it's not just the end of a year, actually, it is also the end of a decade. Technically, the new decade begins 2021, but well, who's counting? So it is also, you can also look into the end of a whole decade, but for the purpose of tonight's session, we are just looking at the past year. Because Feng Shui is also learning from the past to create your future. I mean, that was the actual, how it all originated. To look at the past, to look at what does your floor plan look like, what does the landscape look like, to create your future with what is possible and with what is there. Being the landscape, being the floor plan, what is existing and what can we create from that and how can we create that from that. So the topic that we're having today, looking back into the past year and looking forward into the coming year, is not that far away from the Feng Shui. It's just a little bit of a different approach. So I ask you to bear with me. And those of you who know the I Ching, of course, with the I Ching, you're doing the same. You're having a look at your past. Where am I coming from? To evolve and to progress to the next level where I want to go. So for tonight's purpose, for this Feng Shui Masterclass, I would like you to have a pen and paper with you because you will actually have to do a task and an exercise with me. And if you're watching the recording on YouTube, you will find the questions that we're looking at in the notes. But for now, we're doing it ad hoc as it is, and it's going to be exciting. I did that for me, and I'm like, okay, we're going to do this together. So, and also if you have to have a further way to grab pen and paper, then stop recording right now. And if you're watching the recording, you can always stop in between if there's not enough time for you, if you think there's not enough time for you to answer the questions. I will give you time during the session today. But actually, to be honest, it is more effective when you have a little bit less time, because then your mind won't come in and start the thinking process and the comparing process and all these things. So actually, there is a purpose behind. You will have time. Don't worry. We're not rushing through it. But you can always go back to the recording afterwards and have a look at it again. So my first question for you, you don't have to write that down, is really, so we take a look back on how this year was for you. So maybe you want to take some notes if there's some stuff coming up where you say that's an achievement, that didn't turn out the way I wanted to. So we're looking back into a few highlights, but we're looking deeper into that in the process. I just want you to just get into the mood of looking into what that last year had in store for you. So maybe you find something like a highlight of the year, and maybe you find a turning point that you had in this year. Maybe you find that something changed massively for you, an encounter, job, private, family, whatever it is, just go into the mood and just go into that last year and how it feels. Because I have to admit, when I did that, and I wanted to do it right, because, you know, the German way is to do things right. Of course, I looked into my calendar, what I could find. But that is for now, for the moment. You can do that in the second or third run. For the moment, what comes up? What is the most exciting moment or experience of this year? And just just jot it down, just a few notes. And because what we do from there, we're looking at what it is, what it was, and where we are now and where we're going to be. Because we're going into, of course, how do we want to be the next one to be? And in order to make a real good new start, we need to decide where we are now and how we came to the point where we are now. Some of us had really changes, huge changes this year. Some of us already had some enlightenments this year. And some of us found that this year didn't turn out quite the way they thought it would be. But this is another whole other chapter about expectations. So really no expectations. Maybe if you had some goals for this year and you didn't come quite that far, but you came further than you thought, maybe further than you have been. So we have to look, how did we come to the point where we are now? And from this point of view, we can then take off into a better and improved new year. So I call this, all in all, it's declutter time. It's the end of the year. In English, you call it the last dance. In Germany, we have something that is taking a broomstick and getting rid of all that stuff. So let's declutter again. But this time, it's not decluttering your place or your house or your room or your desk. It's your mind to start with. I want to start with decluttering your mind. So I want you to write down now in the next few moments 5 things that you think about most of the day. What are 5 things that you think about most of the day? It could be that you're worrying. It could be that you're excited about it. It could be, I don't know, I'm just seeing out there that neighbor just has a huge boat. Maybe he thinks about his boat all the time, or fishing all the time. Maybe you're thinking about football all the time. I don't know. Or you're thinking about how to build your own business all the time. So 5 things that you think about most of the day. So if you've got 3, that's already fine. If you've got 5, even better. Be food. And oh, my mic seems to have a little bit of problems. I hope we're doing fine. Can you hear me? Is it okay? Good, thanks. Great, thank you very much. So yes, so again, as I said, I'm honest. My number 1 would probably still be what's for dinner. What's the close speech or something like that. Okay. So, do you have 5 things that you would like to? Wonderful. Okay. Now we're coming from the mind to the body. I want to write down 5 that you do every week, that you actually do every week to nourish and care for your body. So have you established a routine for your body and to take care of it? So I don't know, have you a yoga routine? If you go walking, you walk your dog, or you bike to work, or is there something that you've established, or you have one day of fasting a week, or I don't know, no meat on a weekday. People do all kinds of things. So something where you take care of your body and you nourish your body. Okay? And now I want you to write down 5 things you could add that you would like to do each week to nourish and care for your body. So in my case, one of the yoga routine again. But I'm having trouble with the house sits and the moving, and especially at the moment with that lovely dog that we have, I actually what I thought it would be about. So that would be something that would be on top of my list. What I would love to do more to nourish and care for my body. What I'm really good at establishing already in the last weeks was my 1 day of fasting. So what these things, really just think about, what are you already doing and what would you like to establish in the new year? Okay. How are we getting so far? Good, good, good. Okay, so the next topic, your free time or your spare time. I want you to write down 5 things that you usually do in your free time. No judgment. No, I don't want you to judge anything. If it is that you love watching TV or playing on your PlayStation or wherever, or playing solitaire on the laptop, on the computer, fine. We're just looking at what are the 5 things that you usually do in your free time. And if it's jogging, if it's going for a coffee, if it's whatever, 5 things that you usually do in your free time. Reading, watching a good movie, could be anything. I don't want you to judge. I want you to just take a look at what is existing. Where are we at the moment with how do we use our free time at the moment? You find them, that's beautiful. So my computer is telling me that my microphone is going in and out. I hope it's fairly okay still. So and now I want you to write down 5 things that you would like to do more in your free time. So maybe, yeah, so one of my things is really that lemon solitaire and social media Facebook thing, but I'm getting better and better every day because Facebook seems to be a bit at the moment anyway. So I would like to establish other things. So what I said already before with my body is establishing my yoga routine again that I've been really very, very, very slack on. Maybe you would like to add more friends time, spending more time with friends. Maybe you would like to add taking up a new hobby or intensifying a skill that you have. What are 5 things that you would like to do more in your free time? And again, if you're watching live via Facebook at the moment, all the questions will be in the notes on the YouTube video that all the registered class people will get afterwards. Fine. Okay, wow. So now we had mind, body, and our free time. And now we're coming to a topic which takes up a lot of our time anyway, and that is business or work. So if you have a business, where are you with your business? Maybe you want to look at from 0 to 10, and 10 is the optimal, and 0 is the minimum. Then really have just look where you are at the moment. Are you content? Are you looking at 1 or 2, or is it 4 or 8? Or if you're going to work on a regular basis, same. Where are you with your work? If you're at home with your children, where are you content with that from 0 to 10? So business, work, where are you at the moment with that? And now I have a task for you to write down, which sounds a lot, and that's because I don't want you to finish that right now, but I want you to do it really. I want you to write down 30 achievements that you have made in the last year in the field of business and work. So right now, while we're doing the task, just start writing down whatever you can think of, whatever you can think of. For me, for instance, I've hired my first external person. Yay, finally, I've been waiting for that a while. So I see that as an achievement, being able to pay someone. Or have you stood up to someone? Have you established something? Have you got a new skill? You set up a new skill for yourself. So if you don't, you won't have 30 right now. I totally get that. So for my list, it took me 3 days. I started with a list, then I put it aside, and then later in the evening I found, oh, that's also going onto the list. Some also call it the bragging list. You can call it also the bragging list if you like. But I would like to call it the achievement list. Bragging list is not really my business, so, but that's fine. Some call it that way. Okay, I'm stopping this now, and I want you to write down 10 decisions you have made. Doesn't this, I'm at the moment I'm looking into business and work, but you can have it on a broader field. You can add your private life too. 10 decisions you have made which turned out to be awesome, which turned out to be, yes, this was the right thing to do. 10 decisions you have made in your last year which turned out to be, yes, that was the deal breaker and that brought me forward. Maybe it was just small things, but it brought you forward. So find the 10 decisions you have made which turned out to be awesome for you in your life. And again, if you're watching the recording, you can stop it right now. That's no problem at all. Everybody else, we're carrying on. Now I want you to write down 10 decisions that you have made in the last year which turned out not as workable as you thought it would be. I don't want to call it a failure or wrong because there is no such thing as wrong or a failure. But maybe there was a decision that turned out to be not that workable, that turned out to where you kind of took a detour then because it turned out it wasn't the right way and you had to divert from it, or you had to change something along the way. Was there a decision that turned out to be not the ideal one? And I want you to also write down, and that's why I give you now a little bit more longer, what have you learned from it? And what would you make different next time? The reason I'm asking that is it's really important to find out the decisions that you have made in the past year. What was the surrounding? What was the motivation behind your decision? Was it maybe fear driven? Was it maybe peer driven? Was it driven by an expectation? Where was it that you made that decision that maybe wasn't yours in the first place? So it wasn't wrong or a failure as such, but you relied on someone else and not your own intuition. So this is why it's really important to look at decisions that you've made that turned out to not bring you as forward as you wanted it to be, maybe expected it to be, maybe thought the attachment, the outcome would be different. So let's say a decision where the outcome was different than you thought it would be. Really look into what drove you to that decision. And that is important because every decision that's made from the background of fear is a wrong decision to start with. Also, if it is not your actual decision, but somebody else had their own agenda maybe in it, we never know. But this is where we learn. This is where we learn when we look back and say, yeah, I kind of had the feeling I should have done that, but I didn't. Because it could be that because you thought, damn it, it was the wrong decision, you stopped doing that at all. And when you now start thinking about it, you say, oh, this is what I originally wanted to do. Maybe I try this for next year. So this is how we learn if we look at the decisions that didn't go quite as good as we thought it would be. It's great to have success, achievements, and decisions that turned out awesome. It's beautiful. It motivates us. It brings us forward. But the real learning process starts where we have made decisions and where we've gone a path that wasn't that successful, that turned out in a different way that we wanted it to be. And this is where you need more time and where I want you to really think about after this session, what's the learning curve and what would I do different next time? Okay. Now I want you, I made this for the business side of it, but for all of us, I want you to think about your preferences in the next year. So what are the needle movers? What is a decision, an event, an experience that would bring you forward even more? And I don't talk about expectations. I'm coming to the topic expectations later. What could be a needle mover for your next year, for your experiences next year, for your progress, for your involvement in what you really pursue in your life? Is there something where you say, this could be the thing? Then just write it down. Again, without judgment, just leave it there. Because this is something that needs to maybe work underneath in the subconscious a bit even more. Okay. And together with that, I want you to always remember to check on your expectations. Whether your expectations are too high, whether your expectations are too low. Just feel into it. Feel into what is feasible, what is possible. Maybe look into the masterclass about the yes and no, and look into what feels light and what feels heavy. If something feels heavy, it might be that your expectations are too high, but it could be that it feels heavy because your expectations are too low and you are far more capable than you even thought at the moment. So if you look at the needle mover that you've decided for the next year, what is the minimum requirement for you? And what would be the wow, over the moon experience for you for the next year? Just a few more moments. And now, last but not least, something that seems really easy. That's an easy task, actually, normally. But when you then start doing it, you realize why you haven't done it before. We're decluttering our emails. This is something really that for a lot of us, we love to subscribe to stuff, to my masterclasses, for instance. And but I want you really to check what you are subscribed to and if you really need that anymore. Because everything that you subscribe to and it flows into your email box and it just clutters it, and you really decide, no, this doesn't bring me to, and you actually just delete it anyway. So why do you keep it? Is it like, oh, there's life in my, from a Feng Shui perspective, to subscribe to a lot is bringing life into it. So it's like the water flow, it's like the water fountain. So if your email box is always running, it's fine. It brings life, it brings movement, it brings new stuff. But same with the water fountain. If it runs with too much water for the basin, if it runs day and night and too long, it overflows and it's chaotic and it's too much. So really have a look if there are emails that you just delete anyway. Why do you have it? So declutter your email box. And if you have subscribed to something, to a newsletter or to anything that really brings you joy, do you let them know? How about giving some feedback? If there's a newsletter that you really enjoy, it doesn't cost you anything. A bit of time, yes, but it feels very good on the other side. I know what I'm talking about. And I'm guilty too. I'm also sometimes not doing it, but I started doing it again because it is really nice just to hear. And I have some newsletters, I have subscribed to some newsletters who are amazing. But unfortunately, a lot of them are so automated, they wouldn't even see if I write back to them. But some are still very personal. And I started writing back to them and telling them how much I appreciate their work and what they do. So that will be a little Christmas present that doesn't cost you anything and you can give to someone, just a little attention. So what do you like? You appreciate and give it back. And if there's emails that you are, okay, nah, that was okay for last year, but not next year, take it into the basket and not into the new year. So it is a question of really what to take into the new year and what to leave behind. And I really hope I gave you some ideas and you go through those notes. And I will send out the link to the YouTube video in a few, like half an hour-ish, as soon as it comes up, um, and send you the link to it. So you can always go through it again and go through the notes. I will have them in the section below the video. And it's really interesting to then next year look into what you've written down this year. I really like that. I really like looking into what did I think about last year, what I would achieve in this year, and how far did I come. So it's a really nice thing to do, but it's really about clearing out what didn't work, what worked, what do I want to work next year. And that is yeah, personal development, yes, but it's also Feng Shui. It's about getting rid of the old energy and bringing in new energy. And this is where I hoped I have given you some ideas of where to start. You don't have to start in all the fields, but maybe a few of them. That would be quite helpful. And let me know, give me feedback if you like it. And here we go. Yes. Oh my God, this year is nearly over. The next masterclass will be January 21st. It's a little bit, yeah, January 21st. And I will say hello to you from Brisbane. So it will be definitely hotter than today. But today is almost like a winter's day anyway. Wonderful. So if you have any questions, you flick me an email, let me know. If there's anything you want to add to it, let me know. I'm always happy about feedback. So for now, I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. See you again in January from Brisbane. So I will now stop the recording and we're going into the live Q&A afterwards. If you want and want to stay, you're more than welcome. And if you're on Facebook, you will get the link too in there. So, bye-bye.